Today, I want to talk about how Citadel have resorted to burning their own office down in a bid to hide evidence in the new SEC investigation. Citadel, Point72 and other hedge funds are currently having personal mobile devices searched by the SEC. So what's the best way to hide evidence of Citadel's illegal crimes? Well, burn everything to the ground, I guess. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, the News UL's tweet is saying breaking news. Ken Griffin, Citadel and several other hedge funds have been asked by the SEC to search through the employees' devices for evidence of business dealings on unapproved channels like cell phones. Obviously, the SEC must have some kind of idea that backdoor deals, potentially illegal deals, have been going on outside of approved communication channels. These companies aren't sending tracked business emails through their company email addresses discussing illegal activities, so it must be going on elsewhere, like through text messages or WhatsApps or through some other medium. One way or another, the SEC clearly knows something illegal is happening, they just need to find the evidence. It's obviously not on these company emails, so it must be on the mobile phones. And that's why the SEC has asked those hedge funds to look into employees' devices to see if there was any evidence of business dealings on unapproved channels. And that news comes after Citadel reported astronomical gains as the top earning hedge fund of 2022. The SEC clearly are suspicious of how Citadel managed to generate so much money, and therefore they are performing an investigation. They know they're not going to find anything illegal on something as simple as a business email, so they're taking that one step further to find the illegal evidence. And Alexander Ross tweeted saying, with today's news of SEC subpoenas to Citadel, Point72 and other hedge funds, the drumbeat continues. He said the wheel of justice is grinding slow, but don't find yourself in their path. He said the only question is the DOJ involved as well? Now I think this is really interesting because it's not just the SEC politely asking Citadel to maybe do a couple of checks, they've actually sent subpoenas to Citadel and Point72. This isn't just a nice pleasant question, this is the SEC suspicious of illegal activities and therefore they're issuing actual subpoenas. And as he said, the important question is the Department of Justice involved as well? Because the SEC can't issue criminal punishments, but the DOJ can. All the SEC can do is just simply issue some fines if they find illegal activity. They could potentially suspend some licenses, but the DOJ is what we really want. If the DOJ are also involved, it means that people will likely be going to jail. And it's also really interesting the SEC sent these subpoenas to these hedge funds to review specific employees or certain employees' personal mobile devices. So they're not just asking for a blanket search of every mobile device at Citadel, they're asking for specific employee devices. Maybe it's the devices of the CEO, aka Ken Griffin. Maybe it's the devices of him and some other top executives. But it's important to know the SEC isn't just spitballing and saying maybe there's something problematic in one of these phones, they're going after specific people. Now whether it's just Point72 and Citadel or if there's other hedge funds involved, I don't know, because these articles are just citing these two hedge funds. There's no other names that have been named, such as Melvin Capital, for example, but obviously if Citadel is committing illegal crimes, there must be somebody on the other end that is also committing those same crimes as well. I guess that's what the SEC is trying to figure out, exactly who Citadel is dealing with to commit these illegal crimes. And now as a result, Citadel have even resorted to burning their phones. No wait, hang on, that's the phone investigation. Citadel have now resorted to burning their files. No wait, that's old, they did that last year as well. Citadel have now decided to even burn down their own offices. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to join me over on Moomoo, the sponsor of today's video. All you have to do is sign up using the link in the description below. And you can currently get up to 15 free stocks, entirely commission-free trading, free level 2 market data, tons of technical indicators and advanced charting tools, and best of all is that Moomoo is very easy to use and has an incredibly simple UI. Now to quote the film Dodgeball, that's a bold move cotton, so let's see how it plays out. As the Peruvian Bull tweeted, he said apparently there's a fire burning in the Citadel office in Chicago. Here's a screenshot of the news article that talks about smoke in a stairwell at the high-rise building. Now Biggums of course has come in with some further and more detailed information. There's this post on Reddit that says, I work in the building. He said we all started smelling smoke around 7:30 AM CST, and when we evacuated we were told there's a fire somewhere inside the building, but they don't know where. He said, I watched someone getting carted out on a stretcher. He said, I've gone home now, but the smoke smelled toxic, almost plasticky. He said CPD and CFD are on the scene. He said, I would have to imagine the building is going to be closed for at least today, maybe tomorrow as well. So that's a really interesting move there, because it seems Citadel isn't burning paper files, but they're burning something plastic instead. And as Bigham's noted, actually, a lot of mobile phones do contain plastic polymers as well as multiple different alloys. So therefore, maybe Citadel literally are even burning the phones as well. Not just burning the office, not just burning the files inside, but even burning the mobile phone evidence. I guess their thought process is you can't be subpoenaed to search mobile phones if no mobile phones exist. And what's one way to accidentally lose tons and tons of illegal evidence? Well, I guess burn it to ashes. Obviously, many types of communication like emails are stored in the cloud and could still be accessed by the SEC, but simple text messages that aren't stored in the cloud and are instead stored on the personal phone itself could easily be erased and deleted by burning the phone. Now, Ken Griffin also made some comments the other day, which are some very interesting comments considering the timing. Unusual Wells tweeted saying Ken Griffin of Citadel indirectly responded to the GameStop halts of 2021 by saying, Redditors, thank you so much for helping create the best pipeline we've ever had. Citadel is basically thanking us for trading so often in 2021, helping to generate them record profits. But that obviously comes at a very interesting time when they're burning mobile phones to hide illegal evidence, and also at a time when there's a massive short rally happening. As Chris tweeted, he said Goldman Sachs reported that Thursday saw the single heaviest day of short covering activity by hedge fund clients in decades. Now obviously, as I've said, these hedge funds and these shorts will start by covering their smaller short positions before covering their bigger positions like their AMC and GameStop shorts. They're obviously going to start by covering the Carvana, the Coinbase and the Affirm kind of shorts before covering the meme stock shorts at the very end. Obviously, these are their largest short positions that would wipe out their hedge fund and likely multiple other hedge funds as well. That's why they're starting with the smaller positions before moving on to the larger ones. And obviously over the last week or over the last few weeks of January, we've seen a massive rally in many of these heavily shorted stocks like Coinbase, Carvana, Affirm and many others. Yes, we've started to see the rally in GameStop and in AMC as well, but obviously we haven't seen the full rally or the short squeeze just yet, as these will be the last positions to be covered. But obviously, as I said in my video yesterday, these hedge funds are currently stuck between a rock, a hard place and a meat grinder. Obviously, the cost to borrow rates are insane, the FTDs are insane, and the stock is currently on the regulation SHO threshold securities list all at the same time. And this is all happening during this short covering rally or during this market-wide squeeze where all short positions are being covered and closed out of. Obviously, these hedge funds are starting with the smaller positions and hoping not to have to cover the large positions in AMC and GameStop, but if this short covering rally continues, that's exactly what they're going to have to do. And Goldman Sachs are also saying that hedge funds are currently caught in a bigger squeeze than the 2021 meme stock frenzy. They're basically saying right now these shorts are even more screwed than they were back in 2021. Goldman are thinking these stocks are going to squeeze harder and more violently and even faster than they did back in 2021 as well. That means we're likely not to see AMC hitting new all-time highs at $70, but potentially rocketing to multiple times that. And obviously if AMC does run up past 70 and past a few $100s, it could absolutely trigger the mother of all short squeezes. So it seems a very interesting time for Ken Griffin to start being cocky, considering the market is running and he's soon going to be forced to close out of his shorts. Something that I think really proves that is the fact that AMC is currently on the New York Stock Exchange's regulation SHO threshold securities list. Now you may remember that AMC did spend some time on the regulation SHO list back in 2021, but didn't feature on the list at all in 2022. AMC has nearly gone 2 years without being on the regulation SHO list, but right now in 2023, it appears again. If AMC can continue on the regulation SHO list, I think these shorts are going to be struggling more and more and more, and will be closing out of the rest of their short positions. Not just closing out of the small shorts, but closing out of the larger shorts as well. And hopefully this time the SEC won't protect us by halting AMC during the run-up. You can see that every time AMC has come close to the trend line or has touched the trend line, AMC has been halted by the SEC each and every time. Hopefully, as AMC continues running up during this massive wave of short covering, the SEC won't intervene. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers!